everyone, it's Sarah, and today I am back with a subscriber requested video. So I was recently asked to do a like a Q&A, get to know me kind of video. I have not done a video like this for years. I think the last time I did a Q&A video was when I hit 2,000 subscribers. And now I have over 20,000 subscribers, and I can't believe that I haven't done more of these along the way. So I was like, heck yes, I will do that. So yeah, I put out a short a couple days ago asking you guys to put your questions in the comments, and I got a ton of great questions, so I'm gonna jump right in. I've got a lot of questions to answer. Okay, so the first question was, what are some of my favorite movies and why? Some of my favorite movies are like classic 80s movies. I think it's so fun to go back and watch them with Charlotte. The Goonies, The Lost Boys, Baby Boom. I love those kind of classic 80s movies. Pretty in Pink. I just love them. So those are kind of some of my favorite like feel-good movies. But I actually, my favorite movies to watch most of the time are like weird or horror movies. I love like mind-bending movies, and I love horror movies. I especially love A24 horror movies. You wouldn't think by looking at me that I would be into like dark and weird stuff like that, but I really am. I always have been since I was a little kid. So those are, if I'm like just being able to watch movies by myself, that's what I enjoy the most. As far as like shows go, the last show that I watched that I really, really enjoyed so much, and I'm like waiting, I'm so anticipatory for the new season to come out, is Outer Range on Prime. The first season of that, I am in love with that show. That right there is like the epitome of everything that I love in like a movie or a series to watch. So yeah, those also apocalyptic movies. I love apocalyptic movies. If it's like, you know, if it's an apocalyptic movie, I'm definitely down for it. Okay, so I had so many people asking me about our new house, our property, where we are now. Are we still in the Airbnb? No. So we just moved from the Airbnb that we were in. We were renting it from the sweetest couple, and they had 3 rental houses all built right next to each other, and they decided that they wanted to sell them. My husband and I, we were already starting to look for somewhere else to rent closer to our property, so that when it's ready to start being worked on, that we're close and that we don't have to drive an hour to get there, because that's like basically how far we were having to drive. So it all just worked out that they came to us and said, hey, no rush, you don't have to move out anytime soon, but we do want to sell this house, basically. Which to me, my husband and I were like, no, like we'll be out next month, no problem. We totally understood. So we found a tiny little apartment that is kind of like a Motel 6. We don't love it. It's 580 square feet. It's a 1 bedroom. It's a 1 bath, but it's really inexpensive, and it's in an amazing location for both of us. So, and it's close to our property. So that's where we are currently. We only signed a 6-month lease here, though. It's going to be a while until we can get onto our property. We have to have our perk test done still. And the backlog on perk tests right now, which is where they test your soil to see if you are able to put a septic system in. There is a backlog in in every county around us, and it's taking months for them to even get the perk test done. So we're waiting on that. Once the perk test is done, and then we can have our septic system put in, and then we are going to order a small cabin, like a small pre-built cabin that we're going to put on our property that we will live in while we build our main house. That is our plan. It's taking a lot longer than we thought it would, but we're just trying to roll with it because it is what it is. But that's where we're at right now. We're in this tiny little apartment that kind of sucks, but because everything's going to take a lot longer and we hadn't anticipated it taking so long, we are probably going to look for another house to rent in this area that's still close, but that gives us more room and a better environment for our pets. So, which we're going to talk about all my pets in a minute here. So that's what's going on with the house, the property, where we're at, all of those things. Okay, the next question was, am I still into mysteries and paranormal stuff? Absolutely. Somebody asked if I'm going to film more of that. Maybe. I think starting next week, I'm going to start I'll start to at least post the Chatty Get Ready With Me video on there, because I've had so many people request it. That's an easy video for me. I don't ever get dumb comments on those videos, so I will 100% start doing the Chatty Get Ready With Me's. Maybe I'll start filming more of the paranormal stuff. I'm not sure yet. Those videos attract people that I don't want to be in contact with. They bring a lot of hate. They bring a lot of fear. It brings out a lot of fear in people. Just stuff that I don't want to deal with, which is why I quit doing them, because it's just... Sorry, there are sirens going out there. It's just energy and negativity that I just don't want directed at me. Simply because people can't be adults and just not click play on a video that they know that they're not going to agree with or not enjoy. People aren't mature enough to do that, sadly. And then they're definitely not mature enough to, once they realize it's a video they don't agree with and they don't like, to just click off and not leave a nasty or hateful comment. So that's why I quit doing those videos. I may go back to it. I've thought about just doing the Chatty Get Ready With Me video, and then with the paranormal mystery type stuff, doing shorts. Yeah, because less people are... Well, I don't know. I think maybe it's less likely that people will leave comments, like dumb comments on shorts. I don't know. I'll test it and I'll see. Somebody said they want to see more Pistol. Absolutely. I can always give you more Pistol. He's the best little baby. And then somebody also asked me if I could give a perfume tour. Probably not in this apartment. It's tiny. This little area that I'm in is actually part of the one and only bedroom in the apartment. And the three of us are all crammed. Like, the whole apartment is just kind of an extension of living space. We all use all areas of it, but it's just, I don't know. I don't know that I'll do that here. Somebody asked me, when did my love for fragrance start? When I was tiny. I think I was about 3 years old. My parents bought property. So I was born in Redmond, Washington, which is a suburb of Seattle. We lived in a place called Woodinville. And when I was 3, my parents bought property. They bought 5 acres in a little tiny town off of Liberty Bay in the Pacific Northwest, right on the peninsula, called Paulsville, Washington. So we moved there when I was 3, and they did kind of what my husband and I are going to do, except they bought like a mobile home and they stuck it on our property, and that's what we lived in while my dad built our main house. And some of my earliest memories are that mobile home, which my parents had a walk-in closet in it. And I remember getting into, like, my favorite thing in the world was to get into my mom's closet, and I would be tiny. I was tiny, and I would be under all of her dresses. This was like the early 80s. So she was still wearing very much those kind of like long 70s flowy dresses and big tall leather boots and, things like that. So I would be under all of her dresses, and she had a big jewelry box under there, a big wooden jewelry box, and I would get under there and I would open her jewelry box and look at all of her jewelry, and that's where she kept her perfumes too. Her perfumes would be on top of the jewelry box. And I remember my very first memory of perfume or fragrance, also the first perfume I ever sprayed on myself as probably a 3-year-old child, was Dior Poison. I loved it. It was my favorite. My mom had other fragrances. She had Estee Lauder Cinnabar. She had YSL Opium. She had Poison. She had a ton of fragrances, but Poison was my jam because to my little nose at 3 years old, and because back then the juice was purple, I would spray it on myself, and to me it smelled like grape juice. And I loved it. That's where my love of fragrance began. That's the first perfume I remember spraying on myself at all, and I'll never forget it, ever. After that, like when I was older, I think I started requesting my own perfumes when I was about 7. And the perfumes that I had of my own, and I've always had an actual collection of perfumes. I've never been somebody that, well, maybe not until maybe like in high school. In high school, I got to the point where I would just have one perfume. And I went a number of years, maybe like 5 or 6 years, where I only had one perfume. But most of my life, I've always had like a wardrobe of perfumes. And back then, when I was about 7, anytime we would go to the drugstore, I would beg my mom to buy me perfume. So I had Cody Exclamation. I had Debbie Gibson Electric Youth. I was obsessed with Debbie Gibson and her music and her perfume. So I had Electric Youth. I had United Colors of Benetton Tribute. I had Malibu Musk in the spray can. I had Charlie White. Those are the ones that I remember. I loved perfume. So that was my first like perfume wardrobe that I had. I got this one several times. What are my other passions? What are my interests outside of perfumes? So I am a prolific reader. I read usually 3 or 4 books a week. I've constantly got my nose in a book. I usually stick to thrillers, horror, or mysteries. I rarely kind of venture outside of those genres. I don't do romance. I don't do, I don't do silly kind of books. I don't like them. I really like intense stuff. So some of my favorite authors, I love Josh Malerman. I think anybody that hasn't read, and I've read almost all of his books, but you would know him from Bird Box on Netflix. That movie is based off of his book, but if you haven't read Bird Box, it was an amazing book. The sequel to Bird Box Mallory was amazing. There's a book called Pearl that he wrote that is fantastic. I love Josh Malerman. There's so many authors that I love, so many, but the reading is huge passion. I'm never not reading a book, ever. In fact, I might do a video at the end of this year just going through all the books that I read, because probably since the beginning of the year, I've probably already read somewhere between 30 and 40 books since the beginning of this year. So true crime, I love true crime. I don't watch it as much as I used to anymore, just because I don't have time. And I would rather read than watch true crime videos. But my favorite true crime YouTuber is Stephanie Harlow, always has been. I've been with her since she had about 12,000 subscribers, and I think she's at over maybe not. I think she's like getting up close to 1 million now. So I've been watching her for so long. She's one of my favorites. I really like Annie Elise, but the cadence sometimes of her videos is kind of off. So I really like her content, but sometimes I can't sit through whole videos. I like Kendall Rae's videos, but once a YouTuber gets really big, and I've been with Kendall Rae for years and years too, but once YouTubers get really big, when they start to overproduce their videos, I start to like lose interest, and it's kind of starting to get that way with Kendall Rae for me. Not that her true crime videos are being overproduced, but just like all of the podcasts and all of the sponsors and all of that stuff, it gets annoying. So history. I have a degree in history. I love history. I'm constantly like, I don't know, that's usually what I'm watching on TikTok is stuff about history, stuff that they're finding out about ancient Egypt, like all kinds of stuff. Also mystery and paranormal stuff on TikTok too. Makeup. I love makeup. You guys know I I'm always buying new makeup, trying new makeup, you know, and as I age now, though, I'm trying to figure out how to continue to be able to do my makeup, but have it still look good on, you know, my 40s face and skin, I guess. Traveling, I love to travel. We haven't done a lot of traveling since COVID and all that, but it is something that I do want to get back to. I've done some traveling and I want to travel more, and I want to be able to take Charlotte places and have her start traveling too. And then my animals. I am passionate about my animals. I love them. I spoil them. I baby them. Yeah, my animals and my family. Somebody asked me what was one of the first perfumes that actually repulsed me. I can remember two very vividly. The original Navy. I absolutely detested that perfume. I hated it. Yeah, I think, who made Navy? Revlon? Maybe Revlon did Navy. I hated it. I also absolutely hated Calvin Klein Obsession. Those are two perfumes that I remember very vividly as a young kid hating. It's funny because a lot of people think that, well, not a lot, but every once in a while I'll get a comment from somebody saying, you like everything, you like, I don't know, you like everything. It's funny to watch you because you never talk bad about perfumes. Well, anytime I get a comment like that, I laugh because clearly that person hasn't watched very many of my videos. So I want to tell them, why don't, you know, maybe watch more than one or two of my videos and then come back, because there are so many perfumes that I hate. Okay, somebody asked me what is one of my favorite, or what is my favorite childhood memory. I think I was about 9 or 10, and we took a family trip to California to see my aunts. This was before my parents got divorced, and we drove down there, so it was like the whole family, my parents and me and my two brothers. So we spent time with a bunch of family, but I loved that trip because we went to Disneyland. That was the first time I'd ever been to Disneyland, and it was just a super fun trip. It was just, it was the first time I got to meet a lot of my family in California, the first time I met a lot of my cousins, so it was just a really good memory, because it wasn't long after that my parents got divorced, and then I don't have very good memories after that, which, you know, a lot of us have been through that. I'm not like boo-hooing about it or anything, and I know so many of us, especially so many of us Gen X kids, just didn't have the greatest childhoods. So okay, somebody asked me what inspires me. Good people is what inspires me. Good people who do the right thing even when other people aren't looking. One of my biggest absolute like gripes in life is, and it seems to be getting worse, and I hate to feel like that, but because I'm out in public a lot, which I am because I do delivery driving for Walmart, so I'm out in public a lot, I'm around people a lot, and it seems like it's getting worse, this culture that is all about me, me, me. You see that people just don't care if they inconvenience other people anymore. They don't care if they're making somebody else's life hard, as long as they don't have to do any more than what they feel like they should have to. So when I see people, and I see a lot of that, but I also see a lot of people that aren't like that, that try not to be a burden on people, that try to make people's lives easy. I hope that makes sense. It's hard, but it's just something I deal with. I don't like to go out in public a lot. I don't really like to be around other people a whole lot, and that's exactly why. We're living in a very different world than what it used to be, but I don't know. Hopefully we'll get out of this era of everybody thinking that the world revolves around them, that we're all just living in their world. But yeah, that and kindness. Kindness always inspires me because I myself am always, always kind, like always kind to a fault, to the point where both my daughter and husband are always like, Mom, you're way too nice. You have got to stop being so nice to people. No, I'm not going to stop being so nice to people because this is who I am, and I'm not going to change just because everybody else is changing. That's fine. They can all change and act however they want to act. They have to live with that, and I have to live with myself. Okay, and then if you want to know what inspires me in perfume, it is finding quality regardless of the price point. That's why I started this channel, really, was because I'm always on the hunt for the best fragrances, knowing that price doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be the best. And I do think that a lot of people fall into that trap, especially reviewers. It is tempting to want to just buy niche, to want to, it's tempting. I get it. But thankfully I've never fallen into that because I don't know, that's not who I am, first of all. But I'm inspired by fragrances that are amazing, that are, $25, that an amazing indie house, an amazing $150 perfume, but that is a perfume that's actually worth the price tag because it's unique, because the materials are fantastic, because the artistry behind it is amazing. That's what inspires me in perfume. I've always had the belief that just because something is niche doesn't make it good. Just because something is inexpensive, even something from Walmart, doesn't mean it's bad. Somebody asked me, this is a really like deep question. If I could remove a concept from each human's mind, what would it be? 100%, I would remove the concept of doing harm to one another, whether it be with words, with actions, with intent, whether it be overtly, energetically, even with thoughts. I would remove the capacity to be able to harm others. We would be in a completely different world if that were possible. Somebody asked me, what is the best advice I can give on how to deal with failure? I can and this person was saying that they just wanted to know for personal reasons. I can 100% empathize with you. I don't look at myself as a success. I'm one of those people that I do things and like I'll have a goal, but nothing ever goes my way. It never goes, things are never easy for me. I'm one of those people, and I came to this conclusion a very long time ago. I am just one of those people that nothing is ever gonna come easy to me. Things aren't just gonna happen for me. I have to work probably harder than the average person does because things have just never been easy for me. And it's super easy to get very down about that and to feel like a failure, or to feel like you're not doing enough, or to feel like you're not successful enough. I feel like that every single day. But I've also had to really rearrange my thoughts about what does success actually look like for me, not for society, not for what, especially as women and mothers, not for what is expected of us. You know, as a wife and as a mother, I'm supposed to work full time, pay half the bills, continually bring in income, raise my daughter, I homeschool her, you know, deal with all the house stuff, I take care of all the pets. Like, I'm supposed to be superwoman, and that's women in general. And sadly, that's just where we're at in society right now. So it's very, very easy for women especially to feel like failures. But you just have to rearrange your thoughts and what success looks like for you. Really, you have to quit caring what other people think. I don't see myself as a success at all. I'm just like making it, getting by, putting one foot in front of the other every single day. But I'm happy. I have a happy, healthy child that I'm with 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I'm so grateful and lucky. And so those are the things I just try to keep in mind, because I feel you. I feel you 100%. Okay. Oh gosh, we still have a lot. Okay. The best compliment that I've ever received as far as like perfume goes. One time I was told that I was the building air freshener because wherever I went, it always smelled good. I also was told one time that I smelled like a bakery, and that made me very happy because I'm always aspiring to smell like a bakery. How many pets do I have and their names? So I've got Molly and Hannah. Those are my 2 dogs. They are terrier dachshund mixes, like wire hair terrier dachshund mixes. They are 13 years old, and I've had them since they were 8 weeks old. My cats are Flower and Lola, who Lola is mama. Flower is one of her daughters. Lola was pregnant when we took her in. So yeah, we ended up with a litter of kittens, and we kept Flower. We rehomed the others. And then we've got Felix, who he showed up at the rental house, the last rental house we were at. We took him in. And then Pistol, he showed up. He was a tiny little kitten baby. He wouldn't have made it much longer if he hadn't gone somewhere and screamed for help. He was feral. He was terrified of humans, but he knew he needed help. And so he would come outside of our house and just meow. And it was the tiniest little kitten meow. And so we eventually got him, brought him inside, and he has been inside ever since. I've never let him out again. And then we have Rosie and Brownie, which are our tarantulas. Brownie is a curly hair, and Rosie is a Mexican rose, a Mexican gray rose, if I remember correctly. Brownie is a female, Rosie is a male. We do have to keep them in opposite enclosures, obviously, or 2 separate enclosures. Okay, somebody asked me, how did I meet Vincent from Dream House of Curio? So I did a video on my best of 2022 perfumes. My beautiful fragrance friend Tatiana had sent me a bottle of White Rabbit in 2022, and it was one of my most favorite perfumes that I had smelled that entire year. So it went into my best of 2022 video, and he saw it, and he contacted me through Instagram, and we became fast friends, because Vincent is such an amazing person, such an amazing artist. I love his fragrances so much. I think a lot of people think that like I get paid to talk about his perfumes. Absolutely not. I have no skin in the game there. I just love Vincent, and I love his artistry. I love his fragrances. So that's how I met Vincent, and we have been friends ever since. Okay, more about my love for... Somebody asked, they wanted to hear more about my love for history. So I've always loved history from a very young age. When I was in elementary school, before we even really learned history, I think, what was it called? Social studies back then. Social studies was always my favorite subject. I was always excited about social studies. Even like in kindergarten when we used to play the Oregon Trail, I think really that's where my love for history started, because I was so fascinated by this idea of these pioneers walking basically across the United States on the Oregon Trail. So yeah, by the time I got into high school, I was in accelerated classes for history and English. And then when I went to college, I knew immediately that I was gonna major in history. I also knew I would never use it, but I didn't care. I just wanted a degree, and I knew that I was not going to be happy unless I did my degree in something that I was actually passionate about, which was history. I concentrated in British history, though I did all though I studied all kinds of history. I mean, I took history of China classes, I took ancient history classes, but I did concentrate in British history, and then I minored in American studies. So I feel like I've got a pretty well-rounded history education. Somebody asked what other courses did I enjoy in school. English. I loved English because I've always loved to read. I don't love to write because I'm not very creative, but I've always loved to read, and I've always been good at English. I'm good at the arts and liberal arts. I'm really bad at math and sciences. Like, I never made it past Algebra 1 because I'm so bad at math. I really struggled with statistics and economics and biology and chemistry. I struggled because I struggled really hard with math. I also really enjoyed geography. I also loved art and art history. Anything arts related, I really enjoyed. The next question was, where do I see myself in 10 years? Will I still be doing YouTube? Yes, absolutely. I 100% still want to be doing YouTube in 10 years. Hopefully by that time I will have my own line of perfumes. I dabble in perfumery and making fragrances, but it's a lot of work. It's not stuff that you can just throw things together and like just bottle it. It's a very delicate process, and you really have to know your materials, and I've got a lot of materials right now. I started with like 65 different things, and you really have to get to know each and every single material, because you're not going to understand how to put a perfume together if you don't. And I still have to get more materials. I still have so many more that I need to get. So it's going to be a long process, but eventually I will get there, and I eventually will release my own perfume. It's going to be 100% my thing. I don't want to collaborate with anybody. Well, I shouldn't say that I don't want to, but it's not going to be that kind of a situation where it's going to be done for me, or where it's going to be another house making a perfume and having it be in collaboration with me. Like, I would be open to that, but my perfume is going to be mine, if that makes sense. So hopefully that's where I see myself in 10 years, but doing it on my own property and not in a tiny little apartment. Somebody asked me if Jacqueline, Christine, and all of the other people that I mention in my videos, if they are friends in real life, or or how I met them. Yeah, they're all people that I met through YouTube. Jacqueline is 100% a friend in real life. I went and saw her. It's been months ago. We only live like 2 hours apart. She lives in Georgia. I live in South Carolina. It's about a 2-hour drive, and I don't think it's even 2 hours, maybe just under 2 hours to get to her. And I am going to be going to see her again soon. So yeah, Jacqueline is definitely a friend in real life that I did meet through YouTube. She messaged me on Instagram at some point. We just got to talking about perfumes, and then kind of like with Vincent, she was just like a fast friend. Jacqueline is like we're like twins. We're basically like the same person, not even kidding you. Christine, I also met through YouTube, and a lot of other people. My fragrance friends, Susan, Tatiana. There are a lot of people that I've met through YouTube that are like fragrance friends, definitely. But Jacqueline is definitely an in real life friend. Again, somebody asked me about my own perfumes. Yes, I'm working on it. It's a long process. And that's another thing. Once you start putting things together, like putting materials together, there's nothing new under the sun. It's very difficult to actually make something that smells very unique, because somebody has done it before you. So the first perfume that I ever made, when I just like grabbed materials that I knew that I would love, that I thought would smell good together, and put them together and made them into a perfume, it ended up smelling a lot like Killian Angel Share. So it's not easy to make a really unique perfume, and I want to make sure that when I actually make something that I'm proud of, that I want to release, that it's something that I 100% stand behind, that I think is amazing quality, that I think is something that a lot of people will actually want to smell like. And it is going to have to be, you know, somewhat unique, and that is not, it's not super easy. So yeah, I have a lot of work ahead of me when it comes to that, but eventually I will release my own perfumes. Are there any perfumes that my cats are not fans of? No, I haven't found anything yet that puts my animals off at all. They don't love it when they're like standing in the room with me and I'm like over spraying a perfume. They will sneeze. But for the most part, I've never found anything that they are just like, oh no, Mom, we don't like that. Somebody asked me who my favorite fragrance reviewers are. So I don't watch a lot of YouTube at all. I don't watch very many fragrance reviewers at all, just because I really don't have time with everything that I've got going on. But some of my favorites are Smurfy Girly, who is Claire. She's actually one of the first reviewers that I ever even watched. And we have a very similar taste in perfumes. So yeah, I've always really enjoyed watching Claire. She's very knowledgeable too. She's very calm, very well spoken, and I just really enjoy her. Rosen Jones, she came, I think she started her channel kind of right around the same time that I started mine. And again, I really love her. We both have a love for rose perfumes, and we also both have a love for Estella. And so I've always loved watching her. I haven't checked in a while, but she doesn't do a ton of videos all of the time. But the ones that she does, again, they're amazing. She's really well spoken. She has such an amazing way of describing fragrances, and she's got a very calming, soothing voice. And I really enjoy her videos. I really enjoy Among the Stars perfumes. He pretty much only buys, well, I don't want to say only, but he focuses on celebrity fragrances. So he has just got about every single celebrity fragrance that you could ever think of, hard to find, discontinued, special edition, limited edition. Like, he literally has everything, and he is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to celebrity perfumes. So I love watching his channel. And then another one is Ouch 110. I just realized that all these people, these are like older YouTubers though. Most of these, I think aside from Rosen Jones, these are all people that were on YouTube talking about perfumes like even before me, and I've been doing it since 2018. So I'm really not familiar, and the community has just exploded since then. So there are a lot of people that I'm just not even familiar with. I get comments about other reviewers a lot, and I'm like, ooh, I don't even know, because there are so many reviewers now, which is amazing. But I just can't keep up with it anymore. But yeah, Ouch 110. I forget what his real name is, but I really enjoy him too. And it's funny because I just realized that all but Among the Stars, these are all English people, but I really enjoy their videos. Again, they're all people that I have similar taste and fragrance to. I love Ouch 110. He just has amazing fragrances. Again, I think if I remember correctly, he's another Stella lover. I haven't watched him in a long time, but from what I remember, we have a similar taste in perfumes. People ask me what my biggest pet peeve, or somebody asked me what is my biggest pet peeve about the community. Pretension. There is a lot of pretension in the fragrance community, and I really don't like it. I understand that there are people out there that fragrance to them 100% of the time is art. You know, they want to talk about every nuance of every note, you know, every aspect of a fragrance, and they want to use 100 different ways to say the same word. I get it, totally. But the reality is that most of us do not experience fragrance in that way. Most of us are just consumers. that's what I am. I'm not an expert on perfume at all. I'm just a consumer. I'm somebody who's been a consumer of fragrance for a very, very long time. And so because I have a really long history with fragrance, I feel qualified to talk about my opinions of perfumes. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I experience fragrance in much the same way that other fragrance lovers do. But there is a level of pretension in this community. In fact, I saw somewhere the other day, I was reading something, maybe it was a review or a Reddit post or something, and somebody was saying how, you know, there's no place for fragrance oils in perfumery. And I'm thinking, and don't get me wrong, I don't have any fragrance oils yet, but I 100% plan on getting some fragrance oils because there are certain things that I want that you can't achieve with the materials that are currently on the market that are, you know, perfumery materials. But they were saying, you know, anybody that uses fragrance oils are not real perfumers, are not making real perfume. Okay, well, you're gonna knock out almost the entire indie sector of perfumery at that point. And I'm quite sure that there are niche houses that are using fragrance oils. So anyways, I don't want to get down too big of a rabbit hole, but there's a huge amount of pretension in the fragrance community that gives me massive ick. I do not like it at all. And it's something that will turn me off right away. And then the opposite end of that, and this is the end of this because I feel like I've been talking forever, but the opposite end of that is people who get on, and I haven't seen a ton of it, but I have seen some, especially more on TikTok than I have on YouTube, but people that get on and talk about fragrance, and you can tell that they're not passionate about it, that they're talking about it because they think it's going to get them a lot of views. They really don't know what they're talking about. And I'm not saying that you have to know what you're talking about 100% of the time. I say stupid things all of the time that I don't catch. I misspeak sometimes and say something when I meant to say something else, which I'm sure sounds like I don't know what I'm talking about. So I understand that happens, but there are people out there that you can just tell like 90% of the time they don't know what they're talking about because they don't have a passion for it. They're only doing it because they're trying to get views. I've had several people ask me like, how long does it take before you start getting free stuff? If you start doing YouTube or TikTok or any kind of social media because you think it's going to gain you free stuff, you're doing it for the wrong reason. Free stuff is never free. There's always, you know, you're always going to be doing something in exchange for whatever you're being gifted. So that's an ick for me too, is people that just get into it for the wrong reasons. They're influencing people to buy things and they don't even have a passion for what they're talking about. And it's just gross. So yeah, those are two things in the fragrance community that I see sometimes that I don't love. But anyways, you guys, holy cow, that was a lot of questions. I feel like I've been talking forever. I do hope that you all feel like you know me a little bit better now. This was super fun. Maybe I'll try to do one of these like once a year for all of the new people that come. But yeah, I do hope that you all enjoyed this. And if you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.